Buddy, how you doing?
Oh, well, fun old fella, I'm hanging on. How are you?
I'm great. I'm here with my co-host, Ton.
Hey there, how you
Hi.
doing?
Hi, how you guys doing?
We're good.
Good.
Well, we got some questions for you.
Lay 'em on me.
Well, first of all, wanted to ask you how you got started playing guitar.
Uh, Let me see, can I answer that right? Really, I don't know, man, because my parents weren't able to get a guitar. I was I'm a sharecropper's son, and I didn't know what running water was until I was almost 17 years old. But I did know how to stretch a rubber band up against my ear and get a sound out of it. I could pull a string. If you pull a string tight enough, you get a sound out of it. And finally, in Louisiana, with no electricity, my mom would buy a piece of screen for 15 cents or so to tack up to a window to keep those Louisiana swamp mosquitoes from biting. And I strip all that wire out of there and stretch it across the wall. And you couldn't do nothing but stretch it so tight because it was break. Because now screen windows are made out of some kind of synthetic material, but it was all wire then. And then I found out that I could take a lighter fluid cane after my mother got a catalog from Sears, and it was a department store here called Alden's, and they would get that big, thick catalog, look like the yellow book in the phone book, and they'd mail it to every year, and you could order your shoes, your shirts, your clothes, your socks, and I would see a guitar. But then every Christmas, my dad and then went and found a guy who could play a little Lonnie Johnson stuff, and it would come through on Christmas, and you wouldn't see that no more until next Christmas. But as I said earlier, anything that stretched and made sound, I was picking at it, and they lived long enough for me to ask them questions. My grandparents, did anybody ever play music? And they didn't know what that was, because they couldn't afford to pay $4 or $5 for a guitar, which you could get an acoustic guitar, I think back then for $5, $6, $7. And they didn't ever have that kind of money. My parents didn't even know what a bank was, man. My parents' bank was a sock. If they had $6 or $7, that's why they kept it.
Wow.
So then, from stretch and wire, how did it end up? Like, where did you actually start playing in bands or playing with other people and going on, into the business, so to speak?
Well, I grew up in Letchworth, Louisiana, which is a plantation, and I finished grade school there. Then there wasn't no high school there, so my oldest sister was in Baton Rouge, bless her soul. I'm going next in a couple of weeks to her 85th birthday.
Oh, wow.
And my dad had talked to this guy who come by every Christmas for that out of that guitar, and he was sawing logs, if you know what I mean, with a crosscut saw. We didn't have the power saws like we got now. It took two people. I don't know if you know, Albert King made a record about the crosscut saw.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sawing logs, and he gave this guy one Christmas $2 for that guitar with two strings on it. And I couldn't afford, matter of fact, there wasn't even selling strings out there where I was, and I still was stretching the wire, my mom's hairpins and stuff, trying to make strings. And I went to Baton Rouge. My oldest sister was trying to let me get into the high school there. And I was sitting on the porch one summer evening with those two strings, and a stranger walked by and said, "Well, my God, son, I bet if you had a guitar, you'd learn how to play." And I said, I probably would. And this is a weekday. And he said, "What do you do on the weekend?" I said, "I just sit there, get my little homework out my first year trying to go to the ninth grade." And he came by that Friday and said, "You ready?" I said, "Ready for what?" And he said, "I'm going to buy you a guitar." And he took me downtown Baton Rouge and bought me a Harmony, which is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland now. And we came back and sat on the porch. My sister came in from work and said, "What is this? A country boy with a country guitar?" And the guy had a quarter beer. I don't even think they sell quarter beer anymore. It made down south, though. But anyway, she said, "Let's put $1 worth of gas in his old car and go out in the country where my daddy then was, which was 60 miles away." And when we got there, I broke in the house, and I was like, "Look here, look what I got, look at here." And this guy walks in behind me, and my dad said, "Your name Mitchell?" And he said, "Yeah." They had grew up together as little boys.
Wow.
Well,
Yep. I went on to learn, wasn't no television, and I didn't, first electric guitar, so it was Light and Slim came out in that country with one where you'd buy it, pick up, and stick it on to the acoustic guitar. And he was playing John Lee Hooker's Boogie Children. I couldn't believe a guitar had done got electrified, and you could hear through the little amplifier, which was much bigger than a cigarette pack. And I learned how to play the Boogie Chillin', taught myself, and then I met Lightning Slim in Baton Rouge. I wasn't old enough, but they didn't have that age limit on you where you got to be 21 to go. I could go in the club and peep in the door and watch him, and I learned how to play a few licks from him and the John Lee Hooker Boogie Chillin'. Then a guy in Baton Rouge was named Big Papa, and he had 2 guitars and a drum, and he was playing a harmonica, and I found out. And then Jimmy Reed came out with his harmonica and You Don't Have to Go, and I had learned how to kind of play rhythm. And he came to the service station while I was pumping gas, I think, for I don't even think I was making $1 a day, but anyway, he said, I can pay you a little more than what you're making at the service station. I was still trying to go to school. I said, what's that? He said, I'll give you $12 a week. And I said, well, I can take $12 a week and help myself go through school because I had to eat. And my sister was a singer, and she was trying to help me. And I took the job, the only time I've ever been fired in my life. But I was too shy to sing. I sung for him at the service station, but I said more than 2 people don't ask me to sing. And he took me to this club, must have had 30 or 40 people in there, and he said, sing to Jimmy Reed. And I said, are you kidding? I will, but if you let me turn my back to the audience. And he fired me, said, you got to turn around. And I cried. I said, I can't turn around and face those people. I didn't think I was good enough. Sometimes I think that now, man, that I need to be better. For people to pay a fee to come see me play. That's why I almost break my neck trying to please people.
Wow, yeah. But then, I mean, considering the way you started and then you went on to really influence everybody, Eric Clapton and SRV and Jimi Hendrix, do you still feel like that even though those guys kind of put you up on that pedestal?
Well, they did more for me than I think I did for myself by talking about me. But he's a man, some musicians, athletes, and any people in the public figure, the late John Lee Hooker called it the big head. And he would walk up to me and say, because I would joke with him all the time. I said, man, when you play in B.B. King and Mud and them, I ain't got no business playing. It's time for me to listen. And they listened to that, and they kind of slapped on me, said, no, you can play. And you don't have the big head like everybody else. You think if Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray or Eric tell me, well, man, we got all this shit from you, I'm like saying, who am I? I didn't know it because they didn't get it from no hit record from me. I was making records with Muddy, Wolf, Walter, Sonny Boy, and Junior, and some spiritual. And they was figuring out those little licks they heard by that Coco Taylor. They was listening at those licks and say, who the hell is that? But I didn't know they was doing it until I, heard back that somebody would come and say, did you know what Eric Clapton said in this book, or Stevie or Hendrix? I'm like, what? I'm like, who am I? And I still feel like that, but I got to come out there. Well, you guys at now, man, I can't come out there and say I don't have to play. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric, and Hendrix, and Jeff Beck, and everybody else say I can play and get paid. I got to come out there and play, man. If somebody read or saw that or heard that, they got to say, well, let me go see him and see what they telling the truth. In my back of my head, buddy, you got to come out there and play that fucking guitar, man. That's what I got on my mind right now.
Wow.
So then, really, the blues kind of came back in the late '80s and '90s. I mean, you were, after all the years you were in the business, you were winning Grammy awards and getting more recognized. Were you really surprised by how the world kind of caught on to that?
I was surprised, but the British guys did it more. The Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Hendrix, they the one kind of helped us. And I got a young kid now I'm promoting, man. I put a 45, a CD out on him myself, Quinn Sullivan. If you haven't seen him on YouTube, turn it on, Quinn Sullivan, and you will see. Because when I met him, he was 7 years old, and I called him up on the stage. He's not the only one I call. If I see a kid out there with an instrument, I call him whether he can play or not. But this kid stepped on stage, and I said, that's not you. Because he was playing licks better than me, and I'm like saying, why in the hell you come from at 7? Now, he turned 13 next month. And I took my record company a demo up there to him Friday. I took it up there and told my company, I said, I want you to pay attention to this, because some people say he's too young to play blues. But if you hear him, you would think he's 70 years old. That's just how good he is. And I'm like saying, I don't know how you got it, but who taught you? But they comes along one in a lifetime like that, and that's a natural. Everything he hear, he can play it.
Wow.
And when you finish talking to me, if you got a TV, you just turn on, look up Quinn Sullivan and turn that on, and then you talk to me when I come out there. Because I told Eric Clapton a couple of nights ago, Keith Richards had saw him, B.B. had saw him, Jimmy Vaughan had saw him, and I mean the Rolling Stones, and they looked at me and said, "Why did you find him at?" As a matter of time for somebody to help me with him so somebody can see him play. Now, Jimmy Kimmel had him on his show about a year ago, but this kid, man, is unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll definitely check it out.
Check him out, man.
So do you think that he is kind of the guy that might carry the blues on to the next generation?
Well, if you look back on the music now, man, if you turn on your music television now, they don't play much music like they used to do, like what is it, VH1 and MTV. At one point in life, I thought the lyrics we sang in blues was a little too strong because we don't say the real thing. Where B.B. King said we beat around the bush, you have to figure out what we're talking about. Like he sings, I got a sweet little angel, I love the way she spreads her wing. And I mean, I'm 24 and I'm asking, what do you mean? And he just laughed. They just cracked up, me and him and Mud and him. And they say, man, I say, okay, now I understand. But then I'd come to hip-hop music, they didn't beat around the bush. They just told you flat out what it was, and they selling more records than we ever thought we would sell. Because, and then I had to go back and say, wait a minute, our lyrics ain't that strong. It's something about the blues. But now, the point I'm trying to get to, if you turn that music television on, you don't see nobody with wrinkles in the face like me at 76 years old almost. They look for youth, good looking, and I don't think you have to be real good at the music no more. Just young and good looking, and they can throw the support behind you. The next day, you're a superstar.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why I need this kid. You need kids like that to liven up the music like the British did of the black man's music when they came out, when the Claptons and Hendrix went there too. And the Eric Clapton and the Stones came out, the America was saying it's British, and they said, wait a minute. Mick Jagger was on there at the White House with me the other night, and we talked about it. They didn't say this is our music. They was all playing blues when they exploded that, man. When they turned that amplifier up and come here, America wasn't ready for it, but they said, wait a minute. Man, these British guys are playing something, and the Leonard Chess brothers come to me and say, man, you brought that to us, and we was too fucking dumb to listen. They called it noise when I would turn my amplifier up that loud. Because I was doing it. I was trying to put it behind Muddy and everybody else, but they wasn't giving me a chance to make 45s then. There wasn't no CDs or nothing, but I had that amp wide open because you get a feedback, and they were like, is you crazy? You know, and I'm like saying, okay, you know, y'all knows best. You own the company, I don't. So I didn't fight about it. But when they just before Leonard died, he came back and bent over and told me, you need to kick me. I wish I had him. Well, I didn't kick him, but I wish I had him.
Well, before we let you go, can we ask you a little bit about the show you got coming up here in Minnesota?
Yes, you can.
You're playing at the State Theater coming up on Friday. Is this not the first time you've been to Minnesota, right?
Oh, man, I was coming to Minnesota, me and Junior Wells, and y'all still got that little place called a Caboose there, ain't you?
Yep.
Yeah, man, I played there with Junior Wells. There was another club, I forget the name of it. A girl on it last named Mickey. She was managing Johnny Lang there for a while. Yeah, I used to come up there, drive from here up there, leave at 6 o'clock in the morning in the van, all us piling there and play, man, and I've been coming to Minnesota for a while, man. Even Prince had a place there once. It didn't last long, I don't think, unless it's still there. And we played there once.
Okay.
Yeah, and what I look for, man, when I come in, I don't have a set list. I come to try to make somebody happy, and I'm saying if I make a set list, that's what I wanted to hear. When I come there, I don't want to hear what I want to hear. I want to know what the people in Minnesota want to hear, man. And that's what I try to figure out. So as soon as they call me out on that stage, I start to see what will make them smile, what will make them happy, and here I come.
Awesome.
That's great. Well, buddy, thanks a lot for talking to us. I wish we had the rest of today to talk, but
Well, you can stop by the concert and come have a glass of wine, and I'll answer a few more questions for you if you want me to. And take a look at that video on Quinn, and let me know what you think when I come up there. What is it? Friday, right?
yep, we'll be there.
All right. Let me know to make sure you look at Quinn, and I'll try to have my manager to have your little demo for him.
All right, I will.
Awesome.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks so much.
Have a great day, guys.
You too.
You also.
Bye-bye.